quorum business, so.
Well, the first item is going to add, the first item is going to be a motion for a 10 chair. I have to have a quorum to do it.
Yeah. This part, we don't need a quorum now, so I'll get into reading this to be timely. This is just an opening statement. My name is Cody Leistico. I would like to thank everyone for coming, and for those watching the meeting, I'd like to give some instructions as to how the meeting is going to proceed. We generally follow Robert's Rules of Order. When that part has concluded, as an agenda item is announced, staff will give a report on it, and when that is done, I will open it up for the commission, or whoever is chairing this meeting will open it up for discussion. And the commission can ask questions, or staff, they can ask the applicant questions. Once that part is done, we'll allow the applicant or applicant's representative to speak on the request. Next, we'll open it up to comments from the public, including individuals that are in support of or opposed to a request. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. If you have any questions or comments, we ask that you keep your comments germane and refrain from repetitive comments, and that you keep your comments brief, approximately 5 minutes.
There you go.
When that part has concluded, we will close the public comment portion of the meeting down, and then it will be open to the commission members to discuss the item amongst ourselves, and we may have additional questions for those who are in the audience. Following the commission discussion, a motion will be made. I would also insist that the conversation be aimed at the commission, not back and forth within the audience, and keep comments and conduct in keeping with proper and courteous conduct. With that, let's move ahead to the agenda items.
I'll go ahead. This is Eric Schrader. I'm the city planner for the city of Waterloo and secretary to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'll call the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for August 13th, 2024 to order. Can we have a roll call vote for who is here? Shirk?
Here.
Ewing?
Here.
Lyskow?
Here.
Surfling?
Here.
Schorberg is absent. Trost is absent. Do not is absent currently, but on his way. Schaefer?
Here.
We do have a quorum. We do not, however, have a chair or vice chair. So the next item is, can I get a motion to elect a temporary chairperson for this meeting?
So moved.
For
Yeah.
I'll nominate. Sure.
Cody was.
Oh, Cody is.
Shirk wanted Cody to do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
I
always
didn't
try to
hear
nominate
that.
me.
Well, I thought you did it once when they were
I
sort of
did.
training you.
I did. Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
was that one of you motion and
Yep, that's
second?
what I meant.
Second, Shirk.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? All right. Mr. Lyskow is our temporary chairperson for the meeting, and
these
you
two
have the
minutes?
floor.
Very good, thank you. First up,
we're
we'll
gonna
call
do
this
today?
meeting to order. It is 4:04 p.m. First up, we have an approval of the August 13th, 2024 agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve those from August
Second,
24
Shirk.
agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Do you have an extra pen?
Next up, there will be an approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on July 9th, 2024. Please read through the minutes, make sure everything's correct, that you attended if you actually did. And when people are comfortable, I will entertain a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 9th.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next up, we will go through the financial report.
This is Schrader with staff. This financial report puts us through June 30th, 2024, which puts us at 100% of the fiscal year. Looking through on the revenue side, we landed at 89%, so Just short of 90%, not too bad, a little short, but overall not bad. And on the expense side, looking down through, some are over, some are under, but the grand total on the expense side is 100%, so we hit that one spot on. No concerns with the financial report.
Any questions for staff on the financial report?
On the bottom, it says 105% for the used and received. The second column from the end.
Am I missing something?
On the first page.
Are you looking at this one right here?
Yeah.
Oh, subscriptions?
Oh, it just refers to that. Okay, I thought.
Yeah,
maybe
that's,
total.
yeah. So anytime you look through, there's,
Yep.
sections, and then at the bottom of each section,
I
there's
see
kind
that.
of subtotals for that section, and then at the very end, a grand total. So there are
I
some
see
that,
the 100%
some that'll
on
run
the
over
second
and some
page.
that'll run under, but yeah, our
Thank you.
overall expense is right at 100%.
Any other questions for staff? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
Second, Shirk.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the financial report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we'll allow people to speak on non-agenda related items. Please step up to the podium, state your name and address and your comments. Oh, we got a lively bunch today. Any takers? I don't like any stone left unturned. Okay, thank you. We'll now move into new business. Item A1 is a request by Gary Wiggins. Sorry if I said that wrong. Is it Gary or Jerry? Wiggins for an encroachment agreement to allow for a retaining wall in the city-owned right-of-way located in R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 1002 Mobile Street.
This is Schneider with staff. The applicant is requesting an encroachment agreement to install a new retaining wall within the right-of-way along Mobile Street. The request for an encroachment agreement would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood or appear to have a negative impact on vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area. The site is zoned R2 1 and 2 family residence district and has been zoned as such since it was rezoned from R3 multiple residence district on February 22nd, 1982. The surrounding land uses in their zoning are as follows. To the north and south are single-family homes and churches zoned R2 1 and 2 family residence district. To the west is single-family homes zoned R2 1 and 2 family residence district. And to the east is vacant land zoned R3 multiple residence district. The applicant is requesting an encroachment agreement to replace an existing retaining wall with a new one. The proposed retaining wall will be located next to the sidewalk in the right-of-way along Mobile Street. The proposed wall will encroach less than 1 foot into the right-of-way. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Gary Wiggins for an encroachment agreement to allow for a retaining wall in city-owned right-of-way located in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 1002 Mobile Street be approved for the following reasons. The request will not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area. The request will not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area. The proposed structure will be replacing a previous retaining wall that there were no known issues with, and subject to the following condition, a fully signed and executed encroachment agreement.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions for staff?
I have a question. Who signs on encroachment agreement? What's required on that?
The property owner.
Only the property owner?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against the request? Anyone on Zoom that would like to speak for or against the request? At this point, I'll entertain a motion on the item.
Commissioner Shirk, I like to make a motion to approve the request by Gary Wiggins for an encroachment agreement to allow for a retaining wall in city-owned right-of-way located in the R2 1 and 2 Family Residence District located at 1002 Mobile Street, subject to the following conditions: a fully signed and executed encroachment agreement.
Schaefer with the second.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, we have a request by Goodwill Industries for an encroachment agreement to allow for a stairway and a sitting area in the right-of-way of Maxwell Street, replacing a previous encroachment in the C2 commercial district located at 2800 Falls Avenue.
This is Schneider with staff. The applicant is requesting an encroachment agreement to install new stairs and a sitting area within the right-of-way of Maxwell Street. The request for an encroachment agreement would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood, nor have a negative impact on vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area. The site is zoned C2 Commercial District and has been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. The surrounding land uses in their zoning are as follows. To the north is single-family homes, zoned R2 1 and 2 Family Residence District, and to the east, west, and south are commercial businesses, zoned C2 Commercial District. The applicant is requesting an encroachment agreement to replace a ramp and stairway with a canopy in the right-of-way along Maxwell Street with stairs and a sitting area. The ramp and stairway have been demolished. It was approximately 30 feet by 6 feet, and the new stairs and sitting area are proposed to be approximately 19 feet by 6 feet and will not be covered by a canopy. An indemnity agreement was completed when the original stairs and ramp were installed in 1989. Indemnity agreement predated encroachment agreements, and the proposed encroachment agreement will supersede the indemnity agreement. The building department has no concerns about losing this entrance as an ADA access point because it is not a public entrance, and therefore it is not required to meet ADA accessibility. Knudsen clarified he has no concerns with the request as long as the applicant is removing the existing private sidewalk along the easterly property line at the Technical Review Committee meeting. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Goodwill Industries and Company for an encroachment agreement to allow for a stairway and a sitting area in the right-of-way of Maxwell Street, replacing a previous encroachment in the C2 Commercial District located at 2800 Falls Avenue, be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area. The proposed structure will be approximately 66 square feet less than the existing structure and will not encroach any closer to Maxwell Street, subject to the following condition: a fully signed and executed encroachment agreement.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? No questions for staff. Would the applicant like to make any comments or answer any questions? Is the applicant here? Go ahead and state your name and address, please.
Mike Toll, Levi Architecture, 3228 Cedar Heights Drive, Cedar Falls. Just here representing Goodwill, if you guys do have any questions.
So this is Do Not. I do have not necessarily questions, but some comments. I did want a sidewalk installed where it is needed. And I know you guys said in your documents that you took away the ramp and the canopy here. It's on page 19.
Yep.
And I just want to remind Goodwill and those in the audience that, you know, we may not need a canopy if you're not disabled. But there was a reason why that canopy was, there was a reason why that canopy was there. And so I just want to be mindful of the needs of some people with disabilities and why things were in place the way they were.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to have that be kept in mind.
Absolutely.
And things like 36-inch doors. When you're not a person with a disability, you don't need 36-inch doors. But when you are a person with this disability using certain mobility devices, you might need the accommodations. So I just wanted to have that on the record.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everything inside will be accessible and meet all the requirements we need to.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Nope. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against the request? Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak for or against the request? At this point in time, I will entertain a motion on the agenda items.
I'll take my turn here. I move that the request by Goodwill Industries Incorporated for an encroachment agreement to allow for a stairway and a sitting area in the right-of-way of Maxwell Street, replacing a previous encroachment in the C2 Commercial District located at 2800 Falls Avenue be approved, subject to a fully signed and executed encroachment agreement.
Second, Shirk.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, I'm not opposed. I just forgot to say aye.
Very good, thank you. Motion carries. Next up, we have a request by the City of Waterloo for the minor plat of WCF&N Industrial Park, a 3-lot industrial plat in the M2 Heavy Industrial District located at 2975 Airline Circle. Please note that there was a new handout for this particular item. It's this like legal size paper.
Oh, that's much bigger than legal. That's like 84. Sorry.
This is Schneider with staff. The applicant is requesting to plat the property in question for the purpose of creating 3 industrial lots from one 11.35 acre industrial lot. The request will not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area, as it will be creating 2 additional industrial lots in an industrial area. The request will not appear to have a negative impact on traffic or pedestrian conditions in the area. The property is served by Airline Circle, which is a private road that connects to Airline Highway, a minor arterial road. The site in question is zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District and has been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. The surrounding properties, zoning, and land uses are as follows. To the north is industrial businesses such as AIM Transportation Services and Master Brand Cabinet, zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District. To the east is Foster's Garden Center, zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District and Master Brand Cabinets, zoned M1 Light Industrial District. To the south is K&M Services and Company, Auto Repair, Vacant Land, and Plums Auto, zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District. And to the west is K&M Services and Company, Auto Repair, and Hydrite Chemical Company, zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District. There are 3 detention ponds proposed for the plat area. The plat will need to show proper drainage easements. As the lots are redeveloped, they will have to meet stormwater management requirements. The future land use map designates this site as industrial. The request is in conformance with the future land use map for this area. The plat is located within the primary growth area as identified in the city's comprehensive plan adopted August 21st, 2023. The applicant is requesting a minor plat of the lot at 2975 Airline Circle, a 3-lot industrial subdivision. Lot 1 is proposed to be 3.21 acres. Lot 2 will be 5.28 acres, and Lot 3 will be 2.95 acres, for a total of 11.35 acres. Lot 2 will contain the existing building at 2975 Airline Circle. Lot 1 will have access from WCF&N Drive. Lots 2 and 3 will both have access from Airline Circle. At the Technical Review Committee meeting, council proposed the property line shown between Lot 1 and Lot 2 be moved to the west in order to keep the detention pond on the same property as 2975 Airline Circle. This change to the plat has been completed, and that is why you have a new staff report and plat in front of you today. The subdivision ordinance requires the plat submissions include such criteria as boundaries of property, proposed streets, easements, and widths of right-of-way, utility locations, contours, as well as surrounding land uses. The plat does not contain all the details required. However, given the minor nature of the split, The additional information will not appear to be needed as the plat is in accordance with the intent of the subdivision ordinance. Easements within the lots will be added later as some drainage details need to be worked out. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by the City of Waterloo for the minor plat of WCF and N Industrial Park, a 3-lot industrial plat in the M2 Heavy Industrial District located at 2975 Airline Circle be approved for the following reasons. The plat is in accordance with the intent of the subdivision ordinance and can be served by existing utilities. The plat is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map for the area, and the plat will offer additional lots for industrial development in Waterloo.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
So this is do not again. I have just asking for clarification. So the items that were in question in the mailed out packet that was sent in the mail, those have been answered. Those items have been answered, and that's why we got the new updated plat or the new updated materials.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? Would they like to make any comments, be available to answer questions?
This is Schrader with staff. The City of Waterloo is the applicant, so.
Sorry again.
We are available to answer any questions you have.
Always get me on that one. I do have one question. When Castle proposed the property line shown between Lot 1 and Lot 2 be moved to the west in order to keep the detention pond on the same property as 2975 Airline Circle, will that make sure that each lot has some stormwater management?
This is Schrader with staff. Yes, that puts the existing detention that's for the existing building on the lot that will remain. The other 2 lots currently don't have detention, but as they become available for development as part of this plat, they will have sufficient room and will be required to put on-site detention on each of those lots.
Very good, thank you. That's the way it should be. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against the request? Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak for or against the request? Hearing none of that, I'll entertain a motion on the item.
I'll make a motion that the request by the City of Waterloo for the minor plat of WCF and N Industrial Park, a 3-lot industrial plat in the M2 Heavy Industrial District located at 2975 Airline Circle be approved for the following reasons. The plat is in accordance with the intent of the subdivision ordinance and can be served by existing utilities. And also, it's in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map of the area. The plat will offer additional lots for industrial development in Waterloo.
Okay.
Surfing.
There's
Second.
a motion by Surfling, second by Schaefer. Any discussion?
Do
Or
not.
do not?
Do not.
Sorry.
Yeah, you looked right at me. Said the wrong name.
Any discussion?
I do it all the time.
Yeah. I'm still looking for that applicant. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Next up, we have a request by the City of Waterloo to vacate 8,708 square feet of East San Martin Drive right-of-way in the S1 Shopping Center District located north of 2765 Crossroads Boulevard.
This is Andera staff. The dimensions of that area is approximately 50 by 175, or about 2/10 of an acre. Vacating of the right-of-way would not appear to negatively impact the surrounding areas and land uses. Would not appear to negatively impact vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions in the area. Staff did review the amount of right-of-way, and it would not impact any future roadway improvements or other infrastructure-related projects, recreational trails, sidewalk infill, etc. There will be about 115 feet approximately 115 feet will remain between the edge of the roadway and the new property line of the vacated area. This area is served by Crossroads Boulevard and Gina Boulevard, which are local streets, and Gina Boulevard does connect into East San Martin Drive, which is a minor arterial street. There are no sidewalks or trails in the immediate area, and the Complete Streets Advisory Committee has recommended for infill sidewalks. There is a 5-foot sidewalk easement that was dedicated at 2885 Crossroads Boulevard in 2016. That's the building where T-Mobile is located. So there are future plans in place to do infill sidewalk in the future. A drainage plan will need to be turned in because the city is looking to dispose of this right of way to the developer of the building that's currently going up at 2765 Crossroads Boulevard, or 75 Crossroads Boulevard. They'd like to use this additional area for parking, so they would need to turn in a landscaping plan and drainage plan for that area when they do apply for a permit. Again, the area is about 50 by 175. San Martin Drive used to be State Highway 412, and the right-of-way is 300 feet wide in this area. A similar sized parcel is vacated next to 2775 Crossroads Boulevard in August of 2023, and the parcel for that request will abut this new vacated land. City has gone through the proper state code steps, having the right-of-way appraised and sent out for bid to previous owners who the state purchased or condemned the land from for highway purposes and adjacent property owners. Staff does recommend that the request to vacate approximately 50 by 175, 2/10 of an acre of East San Martin Drive right-of-way located northwest of 2765 Crossroads Boulevard be approved for the following reasons. 1, the request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map for this area. 2, the request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area or traffic conditions. 3, the right-of-way is not needed for future public uses. And with the following condition, that there is a retention of a utility easement over, under, and upon the northwesterly 10 feet of the vacated area.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Well, the city's the applicant. Shame on me if I did that twice. Are there any comments as staff you'd like to add?
I think that covered it well.
Very good. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this particular agenda item? Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak for or against this particular agenda item? Hearing none, I will call for a motion on this particular item.
This is Commissioner Schaefer with a recommendation to approve the request by the City of Waterloo to vacate approximately 50 by 175, 2/10 of an acre of East San Martin Drive right-of-way located northwest of 2765 Crossroads Boulevard be approved for the following reasons. The request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map. The request does not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area or traffic, and the right-of-way is not needed for future public use. This will be subject to the retention of a utility easement over, under, and upon the northwesterly 10 feet.
Second, Commissioner Surfling.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second. Any discussion? I do have one item to add. I want to thank the staff for stating that they went through the proper state code steps, and also to show that there was some form of sidewalk in the future, so we do continue to meet the complete streets goal. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Next up, we've got a request by Bruce and Kayleen Hansen for an appeal of the driveway policy to allow a second driveway and and a driveway located off a dead-end road in the R2 1 and 2 Family Residence District located at 740 Skyview Road. This is also another one of those packets that got handed out.
So in addition to what we have in our main packet?
Correct.
Okay, not replacing, okay.
This is Dornoff with staff. The applicants are appealing the city engineer and the city code of ordinance that prohibit a second driveway off a second street and prohibiting a driveway off a dead-end road. The request could have a negative impact on the neighborhood and surrounding area, as it could set a precedent for similar requests. The site and surrounding area are zoned R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District, zone of such since adoption of the zoning ordinance 1969. Surrounding land uses, to the north is agricultural and vacant land, zoned R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District. To the south is agricultural residences and vacant land, zoned R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District. To the east is Skyview Road, agricultural land and residences, zoned A1 Agricultural District. And to the west is residences and vacant land, zoned R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District. Per City of Waterloo, City Ordinance, Code of Ordinances 7-1-4, curb cuts, paragraph B2, in case of double frontage lots, reverse frontage lots, or corner lots, as defined by the city zoning ordinance, access shall be allowed only to one street in conformance with section B1 of this section. A double frontage lot is defined as per city ordinance, zoning ordinance as follows. Lot double frontage, a lot having a frontage on two non-intersecting streets as distinguished from a corner lot. The applicant's lot has frontage on two streets. However, the city code ordinance only allows one driveway access to the residence. In addition, the property may not be accessed by a dead-end road without proper turnaround or cul-de-sac. The applicants can have a driveway off Schultz Street. However, they'd have to meet the code of ordinances requirements, a cul-de-sac would be needed to be constructed. Currently, the applicants have not submitted a site plan for this request. There was no comments from Technical Review Committee. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Bruce and Keeling Hansen for the appeal of the city engineer in order to allow a second driveway in the R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District located at 740 Skyview Road be denied for the following reasons. A second driveway on a double frontage lot would be in violation of the code of ordinances. Driveway off a dead-end road is not acceptable without a cul-de-sac or turnaround. Approval of the request could have set a negative precedent for other similar requests, and the applicants have not submitted a site plan to detail any location of the second entrance.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
Yes, this is Do Not. Now, we just got this packet from this meeting today. This is what the applicants meet as the site plan for what they wanted for materials?
No, this is
Okay, so this is not,
This is Schrader with staff. Yeah, that was something that a neighboring property owner submitted, not the applicant.
okay. So this is not a site plan that's required in that?
a petition.
Yep,
that-
okay.
We will,
You ready for?
Yeah. There's a lot of information in front of us. Is the applicant here? Would the applicant like to speak on this? Very good. Could you come up to the podium, please state your name and address. We've got a whole bunch of this.
This is different. John, we didn't see that until yesterday.
Okay.
Tim, not privy to that. You can hand it to Tim. Tim will hand it out. Thank you.
thank you.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say what now? Okay.
Okay. Is there any questions from the commission for the applicant?
So has this Is this the site plan?
There is no site plan, we're not even here for, are you asking me? Sorry.
I'm looking for direction from staff.
No, this is just more information,
Okay.
just explaining it.
Yeah, I guess my question, this commission,
You'll have time for audience questions. We're just doing between us right now.
Yeah.
We'll open it up in a minute.
my main question would be, why is this being requested?
We are following the channels that we have been told.
Could you state your name just for the record?
I'm sorry, my name is Kayleen Hanson. I live at 740 Skyview Road. We're following the channels that we have been told that needs to do this process. When you ask about a site plan, we have not filed technically a site plan. It was an existing road or access to our property since we purchased it back in 2005. But now all of a sudden the city has taken that away. And so it's been blocked off. And I have the picture of, if you turn the first page sideways where it says Dearborn up on the top. And then if you can see my arrow here, this is Schultz Street headed east. And that runs right into my property that has 740 on the top, or in the middle of it, excuse me. And it's always been there. We have a neighbor, apparently that's the packet that you received, that doesn't want anybody going through there anymore. And if you go to the second, March 10th, there's a photo. He had put up trespassing signs, cones, and a large dirt pile on the city street, right on Schultz. And then we had code enforcement come out and he was instructed to remove that, which he did. And then we had our access back. It's not a driveway that we use all the time, but we have 20 acres. So it's not like I just have a little city lot that, oh, I need 2 accesses. I mean, it's a large parcel.
Okay.
And then if you go, I mean, I can go through this, but there's other pictures, and their biggest complaint was that it would be setting a precedent in the area. It's already in the area. I have pictures, multiple dead ends where they have access going into their properties. And then as of yesterday, about 2:30, I think I got the email that we needed to be here today. So I tried to find that they're bringing up the incident now that you can't have more than 1 access into your property. There's, the last page is a whole list, just right up Schultz Street from this, are all those that have multiple accesses to their property. And those are pretty much city lots. I guess I don't know what a normal lot is, but it's not an acreage that we have. And then the acreage directly north of us, which I put the parcel number because there is not an address, there's 6 accesses to his, which is identical to our property. And so we've just asked to be able to have access to this, which we always have. And the city posted the signs, and we've been warned that if we remove them, touch them, go near them, we'll be trespassing. So like I said, I'm just following the channels that they told us to do. And if you have any questions or
Are there any curbs on any of these streets?
nothing anywhere in Maywood.
Thank
And
you.
so they want us to put in just a figure I'm throwing out there, like $40,000 cul-de-sac is the city's suggestion so I could have access to my property there.
One final question. Do you have any intent of trying to subdivide that 20-acre parcel?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant?
I have a question. Is Schultz Street a named street with a street sign that says Schultz?
Yes. And actually at that corner, if you're headed east on Schultz Street, going east on Schultz Street, this is Willrich, which is a city street also, but
A
has
dead
been.
end at Schultz or
Road.
something?
It stops right, you would drive straight into my property if you kept going on Schultz Street.
Yeah, I see that, but Willrich,
Willrich.
is the stop at Schultz Street?
Yes, right there at that corner.
And did you say there is a street name sign that says Schultz Street?
Oh, absolutely. It's a city street.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the applicant?
I had a question, clarifying question, but not for the applicant necessarily, but for staff. There is a picture in the materials that the applicant gave out, but there's also a similar picture that's in your packet on this item. And it's the 3 diamond-shaped signs that block the road. Who put those blocking or diamond-shaped signs in place?
This is Schrader with staff. The City of Waterloo Public Works Department came out and made some improvements to Schultz Street and added those 3 diamond barriers at the dead end.
So, yes, that's who I thought it was. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you for getting up and being here. At this time, is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak for or against this particular agenda item? Okay, thank you. I will note that there was it looked like roughly 13 people signed some form of a petition. It looks like they're against driveway access. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to speak for or against this particular item?
Yes, Commissioner, this is Cody Tyne, 1627 Schultz Street, Waterloo. I'd just like to touch base on a couple of things that Kayleen's talking about there. So she's saying that she's always had access to her property from Schultz Street. That is false. Schultz Street's always been a dead-end street since the beginning of time. Every dead-end street in America has those diamond signs at the end of them, signifying that they're a dead end. And if they didn't, people that didn't know it was a dead end would go past there onto their property and probably end up in one of the ditches or holes that Bruce has been excavating over the past almost 5 years. So that's a big liability from the city and for the Hansels as well. I'd just like to bring up the fact you can see in the packet that I provided. They have a history of code violations. There's a picture in there that shows a bunch of tires being burnt on a tree line right on the property line that butts up to my property. Bulldozing trees on city property, littering, illegal dumping, criminal trespass, just a whole litany of problems and things that these people are doing on their property and not on their property. Another thing it says in the staff report is that under drainage, that this doesn't appear that there'd be an issue with drainage. I would disagree with that. This portion of the west side of their property is a wetland. There's also photos in there that you can see in the packet that I provided that this is a wetland. So there would be an issue if this was granted. They'd have to do this cul-de-sac. There'd have to be engineering involved. They've done none of that. They've never submitted a site plan. They're not willing to submit a site plan. And they're just not willing to comply with any of these laws and ordinances. And again, refuse to follow the correct process here. So anytime you try to talk to them about what they're doing in a neighborly fashion, they become very flippant. And it just becomes this big fight with them instead of trying to be neighborly, which we all try to do. There was another neighbor up the street that's gone down there and try to see what they're doing. And Bruce becomes very angry and gets an attitude, and again, very, very flippant. As you see, I did go around the neighborhood and get a petition going with the neighbors on this portion of Schultz Street, the dead-end portion. And I did get every neighbor on the dead-end portion of this street to sign it, with the exception of one. They didn't appear to be home when I was out going around the neighborhood. Another thing that I would like to add, they're talking about the dirt pile and the cones. I was told that this was a driveway to my property at 1660 previously by the city, and that's why I had cones across there to prevent illegal dumping and other things back there. So that's a whole nother story. But when the code enforcement came and knocked on my door to move them, I did so immediately. I didn't block off some access that they previously had. As you can see also in the packet, you can look back from the aerial photos from 2005, 2006, 7, so on and so forth, all the way up and past 2013. There was never been access. There's always been overgrown trees. They've never had access. It's always been a dead end. There were previously dead end markers at the end of Schultz Street. At some point, those were removed by somebody. I don't know if it was Bruce or somebody else, but there's a picture where those were bulldozed onto the side of the road up against my property line. There's also pictures in there where this was cleared out by Bruce and his excavator, which he's also done on the Willerich Street. So he just goes and bulldozes whatever he wants on city property, which is another issue. And again, I would agree that this is a bad precedent that would be set. But also, I think Commissioner Leistikow mentioned in last month's commission meeting that normally when people follow the proper procedures to do something or to get something changed or alter the planning and zoning, and they do it and they follow the proper channels, they tend to be good people, good citizens. Well, this kind of shows that these people are not following the proper channels. So I think that just kind of shows what the future would hold for this. So again, totalitarianism, the greater good. We the people of Schultz Street have spoken. We are vehemently against this, and that's what I would have to say.
Okay, thank you. I guess I will one more time ask the commission here, do you have any questions, comments? I will also entertain a motion on this item. Yes.
Jamie Knudsen, city engineer. Just a couple things. I won't get into all the issues that have been going on out there for a number of years, but I do want to point out that I went back and looked through our permit system. I cannot find a driveway permit for 740 Skyview, which is the home the Hansons currently own and built in 2005 or 6, excuse me. I cannot find any driveway permit taken out for that, and the city inspected it or anything to that effect. I also cannot find any driveway permit application or anything for the property in question coming off of Schultz Street. So I can't find anything that shows there was ever any driveways for any of those properties. I did pass out some aerial photos for you earlier. If you take a look at those, you're going to notice I don't know that there was ever a driveway on those. I've gone back through the Iowa State Geographic Server and looked at stuff back to the 1990s and can't find anything showing any driveway access to those. As a matter of fact, in the 2015 one, you can see what appears to be barricades across the end of Schultz Street to prevent access to the property. I don't know, I can't speak to who put them there or why they're not there anymore, but just wanted the council to or the commission to understand that we don't have permits and Mr. Hanson has not provided a site plan for us to review. This is what the ordinance requires, so that's why I denied it.
Thank you. Hearing no questions or comments, I will entertain a motion on the agenda item.
This is Commissioner Shirk. I'd like to make the motion to deny the request by Bruce and Kayleen Hanson for an appeal of the city engineer in order to allow a second driveway in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 740 Skyview Road.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I would like to second it. Do not.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of D.
Quick question,
Yes.
would we recommend, I mean, is Jamie recommending that they provide a site plan later on, or is it?
Jamie is recommending denial because it doesn't meet code requirements and also doesn't have a site plan. It's my understanding it would still be recommending denial even if there was a site plan, but the planning commission is a recommending body only. So you haven't voted yet, but once you vote, you know, that recommendation, if the applicants want it to, will still go on to the city council.
Got it.
My second still stands.
Yeah.
So in summary, if this does not pass, if the request is denied, there is another avenue where eventually they could work something out, but as of right now, it would be a no-go. Hearing no further discussion, all of those in favor of denying the request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I don't see why not.
Do you not want this one?
I mean, I looked at it. So.
I was gonna say, there's an extra one here too.
Okay.
We just received it.
Yeah.
You just got it right now.
Once the applicant
think earlier,
receives that.
Yesterday.
So you just sent me an email and you couldn't include it in there?
I didn't have it when I sent you the email. The email is just to tell you about the meeting and to show you the staff report. But I didn't have any of that in. That was
I would encourage you to drive out there and take a look at it. It's gravel right up to my property line. Something funny's going on, Mr. James. Mr. Tom. Is that too much to ask? Take a drive out there. Applied in 1959.
Thank you.
And we pay $650 in taxes. He treats us like a piece of shit.
There will be
No
order
swear
in these council chambers.
I'm being way serious.
Okay. Thank you.
You already know it, Drew.
Next up, we've got a request by Envision Architecture on behalf of Waterloo Community Schools for a special permit for the construction of a new high school located in the A1 Agricultural District located at the current location of Central Middle School and the Waterloo Career Center at 1350 Katoski Drive.
Just starting off with staff, the applicant's requesting a special permit to build a new high school to replace the two existing high schools at the site of the current site of Central Middle School and the Waterloo Career Center. The request would appear to have an impact on traffic conditions. However, a traffic study is being completed for the project, and the Waterloo Community Schools and the City of Waterloo are working on how to best coordinate the improvements as noted in the traffic study. The site is served by a 4-lane Kotowski Drive, which is classified as a minor arterial, 4-lane Green Hill Road, located just to the north, which is also minor arterial, and Huntington Road, which is a collector. At their July 30th, 2024 meeting, the City of Waterloo Complete Streets Advisory Committee voted to recommend extension of the Kotowski Drive Trail from Downing Avenue to Huntington Road, and then on Huntington Road to the property line of the school along Huntington Road. The committee also recommended a sidewalk along for the school to the building off Sager Avenue. An updated site plan from the applicant shows these recommended improvements. Property in question is zoned A1 Agricultural District and zoned as such since adoption of zoning ordinance 1969. Zoning surrounding properties and their zoning to the north, A1 Agricultural District and R4 Multiple Residence District, Charlotte Baptist Church and apartment complexes. To the south, A1 Agricultural District, which is farmland. To the east is R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District, single-family homes and farmland. To the west is residential, zoned R3 Multiple Residence District. The surrounding area consists mostly of apartments and single-family homes. Majority of development occurred in the early 1970s. A landscaping plan would need to be submitted with the request. Screening may be needed for parking vehicular use areas next to residential. The proposed development will require us to submit a stormwater calculations and stormwater management plan to the engineering department. The site plan does show stormwater detention area. A majority of the land in question is not located within a special flood hazard area as indicated by Federal Insurance Administration's flood insurance maps. dated July 3rd, 2011. Small portion of the property next to the southwest corner is in the 100-year floodplain. Marion's Park is located to the northwest. Leonard Katowski Greenbelt is located a half mile to the south. There is a proposed driveway shown through the current Marion Park area. The City of Waterloo and the Waterloo Community Schools are discussing details of approval for the changes to the park. All utilities serve the area. The city did have AECOM Engineering conduct a sanitary sewer analysis of the area, show that sewer can handle capacity increases of the development for the new high school and expect a residential development in nearby areas. The zoning ordinance requires that an educational facility to include a special permit by the Board of Adjustment after recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission. This is new in part the ability to develop in many zoning classifications and impacts that such a development can have on other public infrastructure such as traffic, sewer, etc., as well as traffic impacts. Waterloo Public Schools has voted to reorganize the schools to improve the teaching and student learning environment. As part of that reorganization, the two existing high schools will be combined into a single high school located on the site of current Central Middle School. Central Middle School was originally built and opened in 1972 as Central High School. In 1988, it was closed as high school and reopened as Central Junior High School. And in 1994, Memorial Stadium was opened. In 1996, Central Junior High School was renamed Central Middle School. And in 2016, the Water Career Center opened as part of Central Middle School. Central Middle School currently has an attendance of just under 500 students, while the Waterloo Career Center currently has an attendance of approximately 600 school students. Attendance at the new high school is estimated at 1,800 when the new school opens in the 2028-2029 school year, and planning for long-term of 2,200 students. The Waterloo Career Center will continue to be located at the present location. As part of the conversion to a high school, the Waterloo Community Schools is planning 2 additions to the existing building complex, including a performing arts addition and a learning community addition, and the athletic addition to the northeast of the existing career center. The existing building has a gross square footage of all floors of 200,000, 14,000 square feet, and the Performing Arts and Learning Center addition will have 178,633 square feet, and the athletic addition will have 119,000 square feet for a total of 512,357 gross square foot of completed building. Water Community Schools also plans an additional sports fields to the school property, and there has been discussions about additional sports fields in Marion's Park. The parking required for high school is 1 space for each person regularly employed on the premises, and 1 additional space for every 6 students, maximum occupancy. Proposed 20-year projection of 2,200 students, 367 parking spaces just for students will be required. It is estimated there will be 150 people employed at the school, which would require 150 parking spaces, which gives a grand total of 517 parking spaces required. The site plan submitted for the project does include 1,300 parking spaces, exceeding the parking requirement. Waterloo Community Schools hired H.R. Green to do a traffic study for the new school and planning to change its traffic flow into the school. The proposal includes moving major automobile entrance from its current location at the Katowski Drive and Downing Avenue intersection to approximately 600 feet north of Huntington Road, where a traffic signal will be added. However, it also recommends keeping the light at Downing and Katowski for pedestrian safety. A second driveway will also be added to Huntington Road, with 1 driveway primarily for students and parents, and the second primarily intended for buses and employees. The plan also includes a driveway primarily for buses and service vehicles with an entrance off Sager Avenue to the north through Marion's Park. Traffic study recommends that yield signs be replaced by stop signs at the corner of Sager and Progress Avenue, and stop signs at the new driveway entrance to accommodate school bus turning. The traffic study also proposes that a roundabout be built at the intersection of Huntington Road and Katowski Drive. Finally, the traffic study recommends adjusting traffic signal timing at the intersections of Amesboro and both Downing and Blackhawk Road. However, the traffic study is only preliminary at this time and is being reviewed for needed changes. The only additional access originally was in the infrastructure plan was a planned extension of a sidewalk from the school to Edgewood Drive. The Complete Streets Advisory Committee recommends sidewalk along Sager Avenue, which is already in place, and along the new driveway through Marion's Park to the buildings, which Vision Architectural shows in their latest submitted plan. The Complete Streets Advisory Committee also recommended that the trail along Katowski Drive Trail be extended to Huntington Road and trail along Huntington Road to the school property line. The city engineer also is recommending the trail be included, and the applicant has submitted a new site plan that does include the trail along both Katowski Drive and Huntington Road, along with a sidewalk along the new driveway to Sager Avenue. The school district also owns a 28.65 acre site on the east side of Katowski, but that property is not included in the special permit process. Anticipated it'll be used for sports agri-science program and for additional sports activities in the future. Therefore, staff recommends the request by Envision Architecture on behalf of Waterloo Community Schools for a special permit for construction of a new high school located at A1 Agricultural District, located at the current location of Central Middle School and the Waterloo Career Center at 1350 Katowski Drive, be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area, would appear to be compatible with surrounding area. The request is conformance with the future comprehensive plan, future land use map, with the following conditions: that the final site plan meets all applicable city codes, regulations, etc., unlimited parking, landscaping, stormwater, detention, etc., and that traffic improvements are properly implemented as recommended by the traffic study. After further review by city staff and the City of Waterloo and Waterloo Community Schools will determine how to best fund these improvements.
Thank you for that report. That was definitely a lot of work. As we go into this very complex and very important item, I'd like to remind folks that we're not necessarily debating on whether or not a school is going to happen. We're debating or discussing, is this the right location for this thing to be going on? More or less. With that, are there any questions for staff?
This is do not. With the former driving school course to be turned into a parking lot, where is driver's ed services or driving school offered now for students?
Not in Waterloo schools. It's a separate class you have to take.
Okay, so it's outside of the school system.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I have one simple question. There's no asbestos in that central building, right?
I believe that the architect is here. We could ask them if she would like to tell us.
I'm Kate Payne with Envision Architecture, and I can try and answer your questions to the best I can. The school district has abated most of the hazardous materials in the existing building. There are a few areas of the building that have not been renovated since it was constructed, and they will be abated prior to any work happening in the building for this project, assuming it goes forward.
Very good.
Very little left.
All right. Well, because I mean, even a little bit, there's maximum containment of that stuff, and it can really wreak havoc on construction deadlines and whatnot.
Yeah, it's planned to happen before construction starts.
Very good. Any other questions for staff, or are you on behalf of the applicant?
I am,
And
yes.
you said your name and address, right?
My name is Kate Payne. I live in Waverly. I don't live here in Waterloo.
Okay.
Envision Architecture.
Envision Architecture is in the TechWorks building, and if I knew the address, I would tell you.
Off of Deerfield Avenue or whatever it is these days.
Westfield.
Westfield, yeah. Westfield, okay. Any questions for Kate?
I do have one additional. I know we don't have the landscaping plan today, but as far as buffering, what you've seen in your professional judgment for screening,
So
are you envisioning, no pun intended?
we have not done a landscaping plan yet.
Okay.
It's coming down the pike. Obviously, we'll read the ordinance and see what the requirements are, and whether it makes sense to do it with shrubbery or a fence will really just be evaluated at the time. It's my
that's
understanding that we probably need to do some along the properties to the west.
Helpful.
One other question, I guess. So, when the building Central was built back in the 70s.
72, yeah.
Demands for security were a little bit different. Will this renovated facility have the modern standard for security for our students?
Yes, actually, we have to do that as part of all sorts of other, for a lot of other reasons. But all of the schools, if you're familiar with it, all have that secure vestibule situation. Where you walk into a vestibule and it forces you through the office or some sort of, the school district uses a sign-in thing called Raptor. So that will be the case here. You'll be forced through one entrance during the day. Everything else will be locked down. And the entire perimeter of the building will be managed through an access control system.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions here? No stone unturned. This is a very important item.
2 points. This is Eric Dunot. I do agree that we need to put sidewalks wherever they need to be put to make everything as accessible as possible. So put sidewalks wherever they need to be put. And just a reminder to the school district, not necessarily you, if we're gonna have closed lunch or on-campus lunch, you need to build your lunchroom facilities to fit whatever your district rules are. So the reason why you had off-campus lunch or where you could go to the restaurant for lunch is partly because the schools at that earlier time were not built for the rule of having on-campus lunch. So you need to build to your rules, and we need to remember that.
Understood.
Okay, I think we can move on to any questions from the audience.
You don't want me to answer their question?
Not necessarily. We'll let, if anyone in the audience would like to come up to the podium and ask questions, we'll do our best to get them answered.
And any questions should be relating to this proposal, not generally about the school or, right? Yes, just making sure.
So sorry, Scott Slee, 1119 Fleur Drive, Waterloo. Looking at the plan that was sent to us, there is an area that says a bio-retention pond option. And I didn't know if that's a city, a county, who's defining that retention pond as option in this drawing. That is a pretty wet area for those that live in the area, so it may not be dedicated as a flood zone, but it gets really wet where they don't even mow around that when they mow that area. So I'm just curious if that, so my question is the, on that site plan next to the shed up there by the far west, off right by there by the shed and the optional drive out to Sager, if that's a county.
This is Schrader with staff. That is something that they are just showing preliminarily at this point. They have not submitted any detailed drainage plans. They will be required to submit detailed drainage plans, including drainage calcs, and that will all be reviewed by the City of Waterloo. The City of Waterloo Engineering Department reviews that and ensures compliance with code. So that would be a city review before they would get to construction stage.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience, anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on the agenda item?
Hi, my name is Carrie Lewis. I live at 1207 Edgewood Drive. That would be lot 28 on the proposed design plans. My husband and I had some concerns about this project that I believe you should hear before voting to rezone the property. The request to rezone the property lists a statement on the impact on the neighborhood and surrounding land uses. We do not agree that this request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, and we would like to share some of our concerns with you this afternoon. Currently, there isn't a continuous fence or divider between the properties on Edgewood Drive and the parking lot on the west side of the school. We have many privacy and safety concerns. We do like having the tree line to block out the view of the school, and it also provides some privacy for the homes on Edgewood Drive. Some of that tree line was removed recently, taking away some of that added privacy, which also is diminished during the winter time when the trees lose their leaves. There currently is nothing but weeds stopping someone from walking from the school property to the backyards of the houses on Edgewood Drive. In fact, there used to be a path cut through the trees to the neighborhood, which was used often and provided easy access to our yards, leading to issues including theft and vandalism. We would like to know if there is a plan for some kind of fence or tree line or both to be added during construction. There is some concern about the parking lot lighting, which I brought up at the planning and zoning meeting for the Career Center and was assured it wouldn't be an issue, but it has been an issue. The downlighting that was installed works if you are at the same elevation as the land that the lighting is on, which is not the case here. The properties on Edgewood Drive are significantly lower than the parking lot, and the lighting from the garage bays at the Career Center was not taken into account. Also, the possibility of cars ending up in our backyards, which is not out of line considering that people have over the years regularly used that back parking lot as a drag strip. If you remember a few years ago, there was a car that hit a house over on Downing Avenue. A guy was chasing his girlfriend and ended up chasing her right into a house, which happened to be my father's house at the time, so we know that things like this have happened near this property before. The issues with cars racing in the parking lot and fireworks being shot off has improved slightly since the security cameras have been installed at the Career Center, but Envision is proposing a 20-year projection of 2,200 students plus 100, or I guess 150 staff. It is, in my opinion, ludicrous to think that out of that many people, most of which will be new drivers, that an accident won't or couldn't occur. There's a very real possibility of a car going airborne from that parking lot and landing in our backyards. We would like that issue to be addressed. And we have safety and noise concerns about the proposed road going through Merriam Park and behind the houses on Edgewood Drive. Will there still be a park with playground equipment? We have a lot of young families in our neighborhood, several daycares. The ability to walk to a park from our home was one of the reasons we chose to purchase our home. That and the fact that it was on a dead-end street, which usually means a quieter neighborhood traffic-wise. Many people from our neighborhood use that park and field every single day. Unfortunately, we already have people that ignore the dead-end sign and drive through the park on occasion. We are concerned that this issue will only increase with this project. Speeding in our neighborhood has already been a concern in the past, and that will only increase with the added traffic. A few years ago, we had a child get hit on her bike at the intersection of Ingersoll and Edgewood, I believe. We're not only concerned about traffic on a school day, but traffic surrounding events like football games, which have their own security and safety concerns at the school currently. I guess we were not aware until recently of the proposed sidewalk leading from the school property to the dead end at Edgewood Drive, and would like to know if the owner of lot 26, that's the lot closest to the field, if they've been contacted about that and what they think about that sidewalk going in there and the impact to his property. It would also lead people directly past the easement / property that runs behind the houses on Edgewood Drive, making it easier to access that area, which would create more issues with people walking behind our properties, again, creating safety concerns. We had our bicycles stolen out of our garage a few years ago by students leaving a football practice, and in response to that, we built our 8-foot privacy fence, added our own security cameras. Unfortunately, because of the difference in elevation, again, our 8-foot fence provides no privacy when you are standing on school property. And it will provide only limited security if you are planning on building a sidewalk leading to the sidewalk that runs directly in front of our property. Others in the neighborhood have experienced graffiti on the backs of their garages as well. We would also like to know how stormwater runoff will be directed to the storm sewer from the parking lots and school property. Will there be direct connections to the existing storm sewers on Edgewood Drive specifically? Or is water just being directed above ground to the field listed as the bioretention rain garden on the submitted plans? What exactly would the rain garden entail, et cetera? And does that mean the field would still be mowed or turned into prairie? There's currently one catch basin on the west side of the dead end of Edgewood Drive connecting to a 12-inch storm line that drops into a 30-inch storm line, which sounds like it would be large enough for the area, but what happens during a hard continuous rain is that the 12-inch line fills up faster than it can empty into that 30-inch line. And we experience large amounts of street flooding, with water sometimes going up over the curb because Edgewood Drive is the low point in our neighborhood. We know we are the lowest point. Water travels to Edgewood Drive, not only from Fleur, but we also see runoff from the park field at the end of Edgewood Drive. We do have photos of what the area looks like when that happens. If needed, we could provide those. But we have seen nothing from Envision that shows how this issue is being planned for. I would greatly appreciate seeing those plans. I have asked on numerous occasions for more information about what is planned, and each time was told that the plans haven't been finalized yet. So if Envision is ready to ask for rezoning, I would imagine that there are final storm and sanitary sewer plans as well. I would like to see those plans as it directly affects my property and all of the properties on Edgewood Drive. In conclusion, we would like some clarity on a fence, tree line, or some kind of divider between the school property, lighting issues, all of the safety concerns around the parking lots and traffic issues in the neighborhood, information about what is happening with Miriam Park going forward, the proposed sidewalk from the school property to the neighborhood, and information and plans regarding the sanitary and storm sewer plans. We are not directly opposed to the school itself, but have valid concerns regarding the current plans. We attended one of the town hall meetings, but were only given limited information, even though the project directly affects us and our property. Please think about and consider the effects of what this rezoning means to our neighborhood as a whole, and possibly consider meeting specifically with the residents from just the neighborhood in question and in person before approving this request. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Schrader with staff. I would suggest most of those issues raised that they're looking for clarification on, it's probably going to be best to have the applicant for the Waterloo Community Schools and come up and address that. I would just note, it was noted that indicated that this was a request for a rezone. It's not, it's a special permit. The zoning of the property is not being changed. A school is allowed in pretty much any zoning district upon special permit approval. A special permit approval just as an individual review of a proposed use and the proposed layout of a site to ensure that it will not have a negative impact on the area. So addressing those potential impacts is the purview of the special permit, but it is not a rezone. But I think the applicant or the applicant's representative can probably address better some of those specific issues she raised.
Yes, I would actually like to ask one question of Kate. In particular, looking at the topography map of this, on the west boundary of this property, which would face Terry's property, it is a sharp slope at the edge of the property, and I'm wondering, is there any kind of plans for bollards, some kind of stone fence, something? Because, I mean, she's not wrong. Kids probably could try to go Back to the Future and reach 88 miles per hour over there.
We haven't talked about slowing down traffic on that drive on the west edge, but that's a really good point. We have installed speed bumps on other in various places in the school district. So I think that probably makes a lot of sense, and I'll recommend that we do that.
The ones at West High are pretty effective if you don't want to rip out the bottom of your car.
Yeah, the ones at West High are brutal.
Yeah. If we could definitely make that western boundary a little bit safer and alleviate some concerns of those residents over there, I think it would be very much appreciated. That's the only question I got for you at the moment, so thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else in the audience?
Yes, my name is James Lewis. I also live at 1207 Edgewood Drive. no offense to the speed bump comment, but I grew up in Southern California at a big school. We had a strip just like that to get out of our parking lots, and we had other accesses to get in and out. And I lost 4 friends because everybody, including myself, didn't care about the speed bumps. We had to get out to get to Del Taco or Taco Bell or McDonald's, whatever we're going to eat lunch, or out after the end of the day. And I lost 4 friends that hit the speed bump, lost control, and killed themselves. No matter how many speed bumps, kids are stupid. No offense. They don't think anything's going to happen to them. In that saying, that's not the only issue I have with it. It's also, when they built that addition on the back, they told us that they were going to dig down to where it would be the same level as the school. That building sits way higher than the school. And from my front yard, if I'm in the middle of the street, I get to look at a school over my house. They plan on building this addition out front the same level as the school that goes out to the sidewalk. That's already up there in the air. They have to bring in dirt. Why can't they make the building down lower? Because that's huge. That's just nothing but a big eyesore, in my opinion. I think it should be brought down. I don't think all these plans have been gone through thoroughly enough and everything thought of. But that's just my opinion. I would hope that if they do the due process and get things planned out before worrying about zoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to get up, but Brian Burton, 1339 Ingersoll Road. I am in lot 42 on your maps here, and I agree with them. When they took out all of the trees, now there's full access to all of our properties. My house is actually in the floodplain, and it was put in there in 2011. I'm about as far away from the river as you can possibly get, but it's all runoff water. So we don't have, it says here on my property, a 1% annual chance of flooding, but I can send you pictures of the flooding that we have because there's not enough flow under Ingersoll to get that water out of there. And looking at some of these topographical maps, I know that they have to not have any more water come through, but you're looking at almost probably about 20 feet of drop from one end of this property to where my property is. And unless they're going to do some road work, some things, I don't see how they're going to keep the water out of my yard. Plus, there is a new development going in at the top of this neighborhood. It's on the Cedar Falls side, but it also will be putting water down in those areas. So my only question is, how do we keep the water from all flowing? Because at that corner where my property is, I had all the water coming from the old driver's ed, comes one way, and coming from Marion Park comes the other way. So I'm at a T intersection, and water just collects there. I've had water within 10 feet of my house, and it's probably between a 10 and 12 foot drop from the bottom of the creek to where it has gotten up to. So my biggest concern is water, and how do you keep it from coming into my house and the neighbors' houses? When they did take out all the trees, I can see their concern with a sidewalk there. You're going to have a lot of kids trying to walk through our backyards, through our side yards. I already have, so being on Ingersoll, they cut through my yard all the time through that easement. And if there's ever water there, that would be very dangerous for them. So water's my major concern, but I'm seeing now that with the road there, with the sidewalk there, those could all be issues also. That's all.
Thank you. Do we have any further plans on that stormwater management?
Well, it appears that there's added stormwater.
Yeah.
It looks like, I can't really tell.
This is Schrader with staff. They're showing expanded areas for detention, but no, they do not have the details, which that's typical, that we would not have the full detailed drainage plans prepared at the point they're going through the special permit approval process. That would normally be something required to be worked out and reviewed by the city before they can get permits and start actual construction.
This may also be outside of the scope of this request because it may be that that neighborhood has been getting close to the threshold of needing some form of a lift station or some other water management ways to negate that, but that would be outside of this request. So, yes, sir.
Forrest Dillevue, 1725 Huntington Road. First, I would like to request a copy that was read before us here today. I heard a lot of things on there that I've never heard before, such as the Merriam Park entrance and exit and other things. I would correct one item on there. They said that the Katowski was 4 lanes each way. Katowski from Huntington northbound is 3 lanes for several hundred feet. I have lived there for about 60 years, probably a few too many. Anyway, I know all about this area. 60 years has taught me a lot. The people have all talked about water problems. We've had them. Down at Garden Avenue and Wren Road, boats can float in there on a heavy rain. There's no way you can control this water because it's on the back side of a flood control levee that has no lift station to lift the water over the levee. So when those floodgates are closed on that levee, all of this, I don't care if they're 100-year pond, but when it runs over, it's going to run on the back side of the levee that has no way of getting over the top. So that fills up all of this residential property. The piece of property that they bought on the Huntington Road, a small piece, is in the 100-year floodplain. I have seen that whole field underwater, at least knee deep in a heavy rain. That's how much water comes down there. And again, that's on the back side, the dry side of that levee. Traffic, they want a roundabout, or someone has suggested a roundabout. Pardon me if I'm not very graceful, but they want a roundabout at Huntington Katowski. Boy, I tell you, in high school, I had to give a lot for one of them. That 51 DeSoto had been leaning on 2 wheels all the way around. And that's what'll happen up there. And traffic lights. Nobody's decided who's going to pay for this. I think our city is in plenty of financial trouble right now. We don't need to put in roundabouts, stoplights, and I say we need a flood control levee to get over there. Water line. Our waterworks is going to have to run a water line from over by the dog park all the way across through the green belt, under the creek, and over there. Unless they do what I've seen proposed, and that there is a stop on the design work for the water line because they're considering a road from over there all the way through the green belt, over the creek, and I assume that's paid with Waterloo City taxpayer money. I'm tired of paying for all this stuff. The school, the Career Center is a wonderful thing. Absolutely, positively a wonderful thing. But to build everything and bus every student, this is not your part, but to bus every student around is crazy. But think of the water, think of the traffic. Those things are dependent on what you're doing. And the rezoning of this piece of property on Huntington and Katowski, it's in the floodplain. Every bucket of dirt they put in there is going to run in somebody's basement down there on Wren Road, Garden Avenue, and Huntington Road. So if it's allowed to happen, it'll happen. And then we'll be down the road pumping it out of our basements. Please consider all of these things as you make your decision today. Highly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on this particular agenda item? Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak on this particular agenda item? Hearing none, entertain a motion on this agenda item.
Well, Mr. Trader with staff, there was some questions raised. I think it would probably be good to have the applicant's representative try and comment on a few of those.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
I missed what the first one was. The second one was on lighting concerns. Third one was the safety issues between the parking lot area and the homes to the west, and traffic concerns. The fourth one, I didn't catch that one either. Oh, screening. And fifth one was the sidewalk to the north and impacts to the park. And sixth one was storm water and sewer issues. So I know those are very vague, but I just thought you could kind of discuss, some of the thoughts on how the school will look at addressing those.
Okay, where do you want me to start?
Wherever you would like.
The stormwater system is not fully designed. We can't submit the calculations yet. It's not done, understood. But we do know that the water that is generated on the school district's 60-ish acres needs to remain on the school's 60-ish acres and go into detention and leave the site at a particular rate that's approved by the codes. So it will be designed to do that. I don't know that all of the water that goes back onto Edgewood and in that area that Brian just showed me pictures of, which is indeed a lot of water. I don't know where that water's all coming from directly. I know that there is a sanitary line that comes from Sager underground through the Miriam's Park and then under the school district property and outlets there. But I don't think that water's coming from the school district property. But I will take all these notes home and talk to the civil engineer and make sure that we're not impacting those neighborhoods to make it, nobody wants to make it worse. I think the goal would be to make it better.
Screening, fencing along the
Yeah, I mean,
residences. You made a brief comment on that in your initial thoughts.
right, we'll look at the ordinance, see what is the requirement and go from there.
The sidewalk connection to the west
So the sidewalk to Edgewood was something that somebody asked for. If the neighborhood doesn't want it, I don't think the school district feels strongly that it has to go in. It's really a question of whether you want a walking path coming out of that neighborhood and going to the school. We welcome input and we're more than glad to do what everyone wants.
Yeah, it was a recommendation of the Complete Streets Advisory Committee for creating a pedestrian accessible school from the surrounding neighborhood. Yeah.
I mean, people have different perspectives on it. I get that. We'll react to whatever is the consensus wants. I don't think that the school district feels strongly about that.
Lighting concerns?
So this is the first I heard about the lights being too high on the hill from the Career Center building, affecting the lower properties. So that's a new one on me, and I will take that back and talk to the engineers, because you're right, they just make standard height light. We just proposed the standard height to light the parking lot appropriately, not necessarily looking half a mile or a quarter mile beyond that. So that's good to know.
The times are awesome for that because we do have lots of new high-tech directional lighting
Yeah.
that might be very well suited for that application.
It's a great note. Thank you for that. We'll take that one back.
Anyone else have anything that they noted?
I do want to comment that the comment about the height of the building and the front athletic building not being dug into the site, that's not accurate. If you look at the elevations in that packet, the overall roof line doesn't get any higher than the adjacent buildings. The actual gym floor will be at the lower level, like where the sidewalk is right now, on the north end of the east parking lot. So the building is dug into the hill, and the roof line is consistent with the adjacent existing building. Yeah, that's the one. The top elevation there. That middle section that's the tallest, that's the proscenium for the auditorium that's there today. The building to the right is the new gym. It is not taller than anything else around it.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any other questions? I think we can entertain a motion now, right? Yeah. Okay.
Just a note that I will have to abstain from this vote.
I planned on a roll call vote anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we can entertain a motion then.
This is Commissioner Schaefer. I make a motion to recommend the request to approve Envision Architecture on behalf of Waterloo Community Schools for a special permit for the construction of a new high school located in the A1 Agricultural District, located at the current location of Central Middle School and the Waterloo Career Center at 1350 Katoski Drive, be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area and would appear to be compatible with the surrounding area. The request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map, subject to the following conditions: that the final site plan meet all applicable city codes, regulations, including but not limited to parking, landscaping, screening, stormwater detention, etc. Traffic improvements are properly implemented as recommended by the traffic study after further review by city staff, and the City of Waterloo and Waterloo Community Schools look at how best to fund these improvements.
Second, Shirk.
Thank you. Any discussion? Thank you for keeping level head, and hopefully we got some good input, and this will be, regardless of the outcome of the vote, that, you know, good things happen out of this. Starting with Commissioner Ewing, abstention?
Abstention.
Commissioner Shirk? Aye. Commissioner Dunat?
Aye.
Commissioner Surfling?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Aye.
Commissioner Lystico? Aye. Any opposed? There's no opposed. We did roll call, so that motion carries. Thank you. We've got one final item on the agenda here.
Yeah, just one thing of note, that is a recommendation that goes before the Board of Adjustment. That will be on August 27th, 4 PM, this same room.
Thank you. Next up, we have election of the vice chairperson for the term ending December 31st, 2024.
This is Schrader with staff. Mr. Trost is our current chair, and his term is ending as of this month, so he unfortunately had to miss his last meeting. But per the administrative rules of the commission, the current vice chair will succeed to the chairperson, and we will need to elect a new vice chair for the remainder of the calendar year.
Excuse me. I thought you said we have to come back for another meeting in September because we were approved in September?
Your term expiration was like 2 weeks later than Trost, so
I remember the council meeting. It seemed like we both went through it at the same time.
yeah, it might have been based on who was replacing who and when their term
Okay, thank you.
ran, but yeah, yours is listed to where you can still attend the next
September.
meeting, but Steve's is listed as September 4th is his term expiring, which is before the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, we can do this the normal way here. We can just accept nominations for a vice chair then.
I'll nominate Philip Shirk.
What the heck?
Philip, Commissioner Shirk, do you accept?
That's the second time you've done that to me.
I know.
Commissioner Shirk, do you accept the nomination?
Why? I'll accept this time.
Commissioner Shirk
Well, you got
accepts the
training,
nomination. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations going twice?
Is Brandon,
Commissioner Schoberg will be the chair.
okay.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention that yet. Brandon Schoberg is our current vice chair who will move to the chair position. So we just need to elect a new vice chair.
So any other nominations going a second time? Any other nominations going for a third and final time? And you said you accept that nomination, so congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's how you get that done.
Voluntold is what we call
Yeah.
Any discussion, anything else?
Just real quick, with us losing Steve this month, that means next month we're down to 7 members. Then Patricia leaves, we'd be down to 6. Now we're posting it on Facebook and the city's website that we need members. So if you know anybody, beg them. But also that means that we're also very close to a quorum. So if you know you're going to be out, I know some things can come up at the last minute, but if you know you're going to be out of town, let us know ahead of time so we can make plans.
I'll add to that, being on boards and commissions for 6 years, you drive around the city and you see things that got happened mostly because staff did the work, but you showed up to a meeting, you listened to your fellow neighbors, and hopefully you'll see that you made this community a better place. So please join it if you have a free minute. All right, motion to adjourn. Anyone want to do that?
So moved to adjourn.
All right, I guess
Second Ewing.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. See you next month.